Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of what am I calling this? Epic Summer of Make-Alongs Vlog 2025. I don't remember what I'm calling this. Anyway, I wanted to. Okay, number one, this is take like 347 because, like I said, I'm still figuring out this software and whatnot. Even though I didn't have my other microphone plugged in, I recorded an entire freaking vlog only to realize upon playback there was an echo, and I didn't anticipate that. I don't know how it was recording from two different spots at once, except not really at once because it was out of sync. Still learning. Anyway, let me just tell you, this week, despite being super busy with work, was pretty good. I got a lot of knitting done in between, sticking stuff in the oven, waiting for it to cook, blah, 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 whatever. I made it a point every single day to work on every single project, all three of them, and I have made excellent progress on all three projects. I did finally shower today for the first time in like 5 days. So, anyway, I'm no longer a bog witch for now. That may change. So, without further ado, let me show you my first project. This is the Summer on the Lanai socks for the Summer on the Lanai Make Along. And now, before anybody complains that you can't really see my face or I'm not bright enough, this isn't about my face. Forget me. We're talking about my knitting, okay? Peter. Anyway. So I did some color work on these socks, and there's a really cute little purple stripe on top and bottom. I received a free little micro mini as a gift from when I ordered from Drunken Sheep Yarn Co. because I was their first online customer. You should check them out, by the way. Drunken Sheep Yarn Co. They're fantastic. They're based in Louisiana. And because I was their first customer, I got some extras in my box, which I thought was super sweet. But I will say, okay, first of all, let me just brag, show this off again. These hearts, I charted them myself. I busted out graph paper and I charted them myself. So pretty proud of that. But I don't think I like doing color work on socks. It stretches just fine. I've tried them on. They're comfy, they're stretchy. However, maybe it's just the magic loop part because when you pull the needle out and you flip sides, you have to kind of leave like an extra long float there. I'm going to show you my gut so you're ready. So that's what it looks like on the inside. And around this, okay, not that side. So around the side there, you can't really tell what I'm talking about probably. Maybe you can with the teal float there. But having to leave it like extra long to go around the corner, I don't know. It was fiddly. There was a lot of frickin' ends. There was a lot of color changing. It was just not my jam. But it was worth it, I think. I think they're really super duper pretty, and I'm going to have a lot of fun wearing them. So that's that project. I hope to have them done by next week, actually, because I'm going to be starting another pair of socks for the Make Orange Great Again Make Along. And that's much more feasible to get done than the sweater I would like to get done and off the needles. Which, spoiler alert, I'm currently working on two sweaters. I know I said last week I was going to be doing a shawl for the Murder Knits Make Along. Last minute, threw that out the window, found a different project, and I'm plowing through that, and it's a lot of fun. But it's not a shawl, so I'm going to need those needles for the next finger and weight sweater project, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me now show you my, this is for the Knit with Joan Make Along. This is the Inner Circle sweater. And this is really wonderful color work. I really enjoyed knitting this. You can see it goes from the Fire and Pressure and fades down into Bullhorn Enchilada. Those are two of my colorways. Sorry for the flickering camera again. Tried to fix that, didn't really work. So yeah, this was really addictive. I would do a round and then I'd be like, let's just do another round. Let me just do another round. And then before you know it, I finished the entire freaking yoke last night. So yeah, I really like it. I also, because it's on the needles still and I can't fully stretch it out, I was a little paranoid that it wasn't going to fit. So I did a gauge swap. Well, I did not. Here's the thing. I did not do a gauge swatch, which is why I wasn't sure it was going to fit. However, the sweater is the gauge swatch. So I pulled out my handy dandy little ruler here and I measured, and it turns out my gauge is spot on. Fantastic. So it should fit fine. I'm up to the part where I'm supposed to be splitting for the sleeves, like putting the sleeves on stitch holders, scrap yarn, whatever. I always just do scrap yarn, and then knitting the body. So we'll see how that goes this week. I'm committing to my knit every project every day schedule. So last but not least, the Plot Twist sweater. By the way, if you like my stitch stoppers, you can go on Instagram and check out Pro Life Knitter. My bestie Amy sells these, and the proceeds go to Let Them Live. And they're just really cute, and they're for a good cause. So, what I decided to do here, this is the Potluck Pullover. It's a free pattern. It's designed for fingering weight. However, 2 strands of lace held together makes fingering weight. And if you happen to add a little shiny strand of Lurex, well, you still have fingering weight, but you have sparkly fingering weight. So let me show you. Okay. It's a top-down raglan sweater. You can see the raglan there. This was initially, the instructions say that you should knit a garter collar, and I like that in theory. I like the way it looks. However, for some reason, it just did not work for me. It flared and it folded over and it just didn't look good. So I just decided to start over with ribbing, because you can't beat a nice ribbed collar, I guess. I mean, not that it's not really like a collar, it's just the edging. There's no like real collar. I really love the sparkles. Got like Mad Lisa Frank vibes here. I really, I have been enjoying knitting this, even though it's a little chaotic because it's, as you can see, it's 6 strands going at the same time. I mean, I'm striping them, but it's still, I'm keeping everything in this box and just like praying it doesn't get knocked over by a cat. I shot her a dirty look. But it's, yeah, so it's a little chaotic, but it's been working out pretty well. I have really enjoyed knitting with it. I did not check the gauge on that. Maybe I should, because I feel like also on this, I'm just feeling like maybe it's not gonna, maybe my gauge might be a little smaller and tighter because the lace that I'm using is really fine. We'll see. Because it's a raglan, if it is a little too small, then I can just keep going with the raglan and it'll be just fine. Or maybe I'll use a size bigger needle. I'll figure it out. Regardless, it's been a lot of fun to knit, and I really like the way it's coming out. And I think that because I have so much yarn, I'm going to it's designed to be a short sleeve pullover, but I think I might do bishop sleeves again, because I like that flare in the tight cuff. I don't know why I like that. I just do. I like the puffy sort of look. Or maybe I'll do bell sleeves. That's always a possibility. But then, you try to put bell sleeves into a jacket or a hoodie and things get weird. I don't know. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Spoiler alert, when I start the Make Orange Great Again sweater, that is also going to be sparkly because I have quite a bit of orange Lurex, shiny orange coppery Lurex. So yeah, I think it'll be fun. Really looking forward to casting on for that. I could theoretically cast on early. I probably have the needles for it, but I am committed to not doing that. I'm going to start every make along on the date, not double dipping. So yeah, rumor has it that Shark Week starts at the end of July, so that's pretty cool. Knits and White Satin starts July 1st, so the next three are going to be staggered, which is good. Gives me plenty of time to finish these projects up before the chaos of the new projects. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I also wanted to mention that I'm going to be starting a new feature, I guess, on this channel. Y'all know I do Wildcard Wednesday. Now I have my silly little vlog going on. I'm also going to be doing something called Makeover Mondays, which, if you've been a fan of my shop for a while or a customer, and you probably have noticed that since 2020, I haven't really discontinued any of my colorways. And I mean, I have discontinued some, not permanently though, because, okay, here's the thing. Let me explain something about how I'm an artist and not a secretary. Way back in the beginning, I was so stoked on dyeing new yarn. Make no mistake, I am still so stoked on dyeing new yarn. I mean, it is the most wonderful day of my life, every day that I get to dye yarn. However, the excitement of, and the flurry of creating new yarns and whatever meant that I didn't always write down my recipes. Sometimes I got a little cocky and thought, oh, you'll remember that. You don't need to write that down. Dingus, when it's 5 years later and somebody's like, hey, I want a skein of that colorway that you created back in 2020. And you were just like, and you have to sit there and reverse engineer your own work. That's kind of embarrassing. Or like sometimes my instructions are not clear. For example, somebody recently ordered a skein of Shake Your Rump, which is very, very pretty. And I did figure it out on the first try. However, it was a little dicey looking at the instructions and seeing splotch. I told myself to splotch certain colors on. And I'm like, what does that mean? Is that a wet application? Is that a dry application? Did I mean to fleck it? Did I mean, like, what does splotch mean? And so, because my personal definition of splotch, and I haven't looked this up, I feel like it's a wet application. A splotch is like, you know, if you get like a splotch of ink on something, it's wet. So I proceeded accordingly. Everything worked out fine. But it really highlighted for me that also a lot of my older colorways don't have great photographs because crappy cell phone camera. I originally started out using an actual camera and a light box, and that was just not so great. But technology has come a long way in the last 5 years, especially with phone cameras. And now, if anything, I'm always having to desaturate colors because my phone will just jack up colors like crazy. So, yeah, I have a better photo taking capabilities now. I would like to, number one, make sure that all of my recipes are nailed down, that I know what I'm doing, that I know how much of whatever color I need to use is nailed down. Because here's another thing, I would write down a recipe and just be like, twist blah blah with blah blah, and then drizzle blah blah or whatever. How many scoops of each? Like, what? That's a terrible recipe. You need amounts for that sort of thing. Maybe it's also because when I cook, I don't measure. I just kind of like throw things together, like different ingredients and whatnot. So maybe that's what was happening there. Regardless, I have gotten so much better this year. I am absolutely, before I do anything, I write it down, and then if in the process of creating the thing, something changes, I stop what I'm doing and I turn around and I make note of it. Like, so, yeah. I'm getting better, but I would like to revisit some of those older colorways just so that you can see them, be reminded that they exist, because I think some of them really deserve a little extra love. They need to get the recipes nailed down. They need new photos. So yeah, every Monday, probably every Monday. Could be every other Monday. We'll see. We'll see how things go. I would like to revisit an old colorway and give it a makeover. There are some in my shop that have been deactivated because I was kind of just holding on to them for that purpose. Like, oh, I'm going to make this over someday, and now I've just decided to make a whole project of it. So it's going to be a whole thing. So stay tuned for that if you like watching yarn dyeing and if you like my stuff. So yeah, that's about all I got for this week. Thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for liking and subscribing, and thank you for your kind comments. If you would like to, you can follow me on Instagram. I am at Oweneth Yarn and Fiber. I'm also at, and speaking of which, also spoiler alert, I recently bought some fiber to dye, so I will have spinning fiber in the shop soon. I'll dye it this weekend. I'm also at Buffalo Sponks on Instagram. That's my personal Instagram. You can see pictures of my cat and videos of my cat often eating leaves or just being a brat. She's the real boss of the operation. So yeah, I think that's about all I got for this week. Stay tuned. Next week, like I said, I'll probably be recording on Saturday just so I could show off a new cast on. And that's about it. Thanks for watching.